I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Krysta, and I'm the daughter.
And together we are Family Plot. Very nice. How are you ladies today?
Got something.
You had hair in your mic, sorry.
Well, maybe it had something to say.
It was a ostentatious hair, if you will.
Ostentatious. So, first things first, thank you for listening. A couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get to the show. First, you can help us out through Patreon. We only have 2 levels, $1 and $3, but any little bit helps. It's a monthly donation, but you can pause it if you need to. If you can't afford a monthly donation, you can always go with Buy Me a Coffee, which is just a one-time donation of $1 or $2. If you enjoy the show, please share it on social media.
Share it with friends.
With family.
With everyone. And if you don't enjoy the show, please keep it to yourself. So what are we talking about tonight? Well, tonight we revisit a character we visited in one of our earlier episodes, the episode on haunted dolls. Today we focus on one doll. Only one doll, a doll formerly owned by Robert Eugene Otto. Tonight, we look into the one and only Robert the doll. But first, Krysta has a corner.
It's not just any corner, it's Krysta's corner.
Hi.
Hi. How is your corner?
It's fine.
I see you have a guest in your corner today.
I do have a guest in my corner. Their name is Gemini. They're my new mask. I just finished them.
They're very furry.
They are very furry.
They have long floppy ears.
And there is fur over one eye. And
yes.
And how do you see out of it?
I don't see out of it.
I flip it upwards.
I
either flip it upwards or I tuck in the fur here and make sort of a poof.
So it makes a foof.
It makes a foof.
That's what she said. Foof away.
Are you going to wear this on Halloween?
Yes.
Yeah. So Gemini will be the Halloween look for a crystal.
Yeah, Gemini.
Mommy still wants to make my Shy Guy costume.
I don't know what I'll do. I might just put on a hoodie and walk Lexi around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel right.
I probably will.
I don't feel right being scary, wandering my 6-year-old around.
I mean, Gemini really isn't really scary.
No, Gemini's not scary.
Gemini's actually looks very friendly.
She does. She's cute. She's very pastel and has floppy ears and
lots of stars.
Lots of stars.
And there's a moon here and a fur. I know, a little sneak peek. There's also.
Yeah, but it's all about the overall effect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. And that was my knuckle popping.
And I like your horns. And those were not part of the initial mask. You've added those.
Yeah, I added those.
She sculpted them.
I also added these little teeth here.
Cool.
Our creative Krysta.
Well, Krysta is very creative, and I like this mask. I like it a lot.
I also added the eyes. The eyes was my doing. It's cardboard and mesh from a bag.
Nice.
On this one, too. You just can't see it.
Well, yeah, because the thing is flopped over. Like, it's almost an anime thing. Like, I swear there's this anime convention where one character will have, like, hair over one eye and the other will light up. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why people do that, but apparently I'm into that aesthetic because I'm doing the same thing.
Apparently you are. But, you know, it's okay.
That's okay. I like the colors on this mask, and I'm pretty proud of it. So.
I like the mask.
Did a good job.
You did a great job.
I also this weekend have been focusing on a show, Supernatural. Love Supernatural.
She's late to the party, but she is
I'm late to the party, but
jumping in with 2 feet.
2 feet.
April Victorine, one of our friends from California, and one of the people I send episodes to every week, she loved that show. In fact, whenever she buys a coffee pot, its name is Kevin. And that comes from the show because there's apparently a character named Kevin that dies that speaks through them through coffee pots.
I see.
I haven't
Good to
gotten
know.
that far, but that's
I was
fine.
going to say, yeah, that's news to me. But that is cool.
So what else is happening in Krysta's Corner this week? How is the person who
Shall not be named.
shall not be named?
They're good. Unfortunately, they're not feeling the best. Excuse me.
Now, their nickname is Bunny,
Yeah, the nickname I gave them is Bunny.
and your nickname is
Sunshine.
Bunny and Sunshine.
That's so cute.
Bunshine.
Yeah, okay. If you wanted to do, ship the relationship, it would be Bunshine. Or Sunny.
Bunshine's better because you can actually tell the bits.
Yeah, I know that you can tell it's a portmanteau better, but I like Sunny because it fits your personality and what I hope is her personality as well.
Yeah, it's actually kind of is her personality as well. She's very energetic and stuff.
That was awesome.
So, how do you feel about the episode we're going to do not having characters you're likely to dislike?
You know, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to hear about a doll. And not a human that I could majorly dislike this time.
I don't know. Robert the Doll kind of plays some nasty tricks on people if the story is told or to be believed.
Yeah, but they kind of deserve it. I mean, he's got rules. He
He has boundaries.
and he just, wants them respected. So what else you got going on in your corner, Chris?
Let's see. I wish I could make some spooky cupcakes again, but that's already over. Well, Halloween isn't over, but everyone ate my spooky cupcakes. They're gone.
But they were there for days afterwards, waiting for you to eat some of them.
I don't really like cupcakes. I just like
She
making
just liked making them and decorating them.
Yeah,
But you know what? You know what else is a really good time for making and decorating things? Christmas. And it's coming.
Wow.
And, it doesn't need to be Halloween to make spooky stuff.
That's true. I mean,
We are a weird family.
we let your dad out to be spooky all the time, and if we kept him to just Halloween, then we'd miss out on a whole lot of fun.
You miss out on Dad.
Did you have anything else that you want to talk about this week, Chris?
Sure.
I'm sure too.
I got to go to my first drama tournament.
Yeah, your first tournament.
How'd that go? Other than I know you didn't get any sleep before
I
it.
didn't get any sleep the night before. And it was kind of bad. It wasn't my favorite thing ever, but that's because that's also okay because that was the worst tournament that Blue went to, ever.
Well, I don't know if they do it anymore, but when I was your age, we did a few tournaments out of town that we got to stay in hotels for. My favorite being St. Louis.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think they've talked about that this year. But,
For the most part, their stuff is nearby.
for the most part, yeah, we're gonna do it in a college as well. So,
Cool.
I don't know if it's us or varsity or semifinals or whatever. Yeah, you and Blue said that was the worst tournament that he had ever gone to, and he's been in this for like 2 years.
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. So, yeah. It was pretty bad. My feet hurt really bad. But it was fun. It was fun talking to people.
That's good. I think it'll get better. You just need to give it some time.
Yeah.
Just go to bed the night before.
That too.
Right.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on that part.
Yep. So, what else is going on in Krysta's corner?
I started giving another mask that I got ears. But now I gotta sew them in, and Mom has to teach me at some point.
Ah.
I asked your brother to help you with that. We'll see if it actually happens.
Which brother? Gimmicks? Never gonna happen. Never. He's never gonna help me with that.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
He's already struggling with the dino mask.
Why is he struggling with the dino mask?
Because he's not doing it. He has no motivation.
Well,
Every time
yeah.
he says he's gonna work on it.
But yeah, he's hard to motivate, but I found a way. Mom and I have found a way.
Sometimes that works. You're not wrong. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to share from your corner this week, Chrissy?
No, but Gemini wanted to say something.
What's up, Gemini? Oh, Gemini's picky.
Yeah, so here, let me play some claps. Yay, we got claps. Okay, so let's get into this week's episode. We'll begin with some history. Now, a lot of this that I'm going to talk about, we didn't know until fairly recently. So later, when we talk about Robert's curse, there's going to be some stories of the curse that contradict it. Those stories are wrong. They were made up, which could mean that all the stories are wrong or just the ones that contradict the information we've come to find out. Robert the Doll is at least 119 years old. In fact, Brad Chroma from the Doomsday podcast, when I put up the picture like I do, asked, "Is it melting?" And my response was, "When 119 years old you reach, look as good you will not."
Channeling your inner Yoda, I see.
Yes. But he's at least 119 years old and currently is the star resident of the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. He is in a room where the walls are covered in notes and letters of people who didn't follow the rules and suffered from misfortune. He began his life in Germany in 1904, purchased by the grandfather of Robert Eugene Otto, a young boy who was part of a prominent Key West family. Now, what we've come to believe is the doll was named Robert Eugene Otto as well, and while the boy went by Gene, the doll went by Robert. So they were both named Robert Eugene Otto. So when we're talking about Robert, it's the doll. When we're talking about Gene, it's the man. Now, we know a little of Robert's history. We believe he was created by Steiff, S-T-E-I-F-F, which is a German toy company that still exists, by the way. They make plush bears and other wonderful toys. So it's been around for a minute. He was not intended to be a doll for sale, we don't think, but rather part of a clown or jester display. And we think the sailor suit he's wearing came with him. It wasn't made by anyone in the family. We also believe the dog he came with as well. Now, for most of his existence, Robert was owned by Gene, but in 1994, Robert came to live at the museum.
So let's talk about the origin of Robert the Doll's purse. There are several stories as to why Robert became cursed. The earliest states that Robert was built by a neighbor out of straw and foam, and the neighbor gave the doll to Gene out of a sense of retribution for some slight, either real or imagined.
And that's the one with what we know now is almost certainly untrue.
Certainly not true. Another story claims that Gene's father was a doctor and that a neighbor woman brought her injured child over. That Dr. Otto did his best but was unable to save the child. Some believe it was the child's spirit that possessed Robert the doll. Yet another tale is based on the fact that Gene and his parents lived in a mansion that is still located at the corner of Simonton and Eaton. Because they lived in such a large house, they had many servants, some of whom were supposedly mean to Gene and his doll. Some believe since many of the servants came from Haiti or nearby islands that some of the servants practiced voodoo. Indeed, one for sure was fired for this very reason. Some think that voodoo was used to possess or animate the doll. Whatever the case, Robert became Gene's closest friend and boon companion.
And now let's take a moment for a word from our sponsors.
Hey.
What? Yes?
Yeah, I was just going to let you know that I feel sponsored.
Yay!
I also feel sponsored.
Yay!
Sponsored too. And so does Gemini, apparently.
Oh, okay. Mr. Mouse loves Gemini. Okay.
He's just like, it was worth it.
Yeah, it was totally worth it.
Ugh.
Krysta, this next part is yours.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. It is believed that Gene was around 8 years old when he was given Robert. Gene loved Robert, and the two went everywhere together. Soon, people began to whisper about the man and doll's odd relationship. It's not odd, it's comfort. Gene even began to build Robert his own room in the attic. He made him his own teddy bear, his own chair, his own bed, and everything. Everything one might find in a child's room. When Gene was out of the house, Robert went everywhere. Gene went, and people began to claim they could see the doll move. See it wink with its black beady eyes, and even hear its whisper. Gene maintained a relationship with Robert for the rest of his life, and people continued to whisper about their unnatural relationship between Gene and Robert. When Gene passed away, Robert eventually came to live at the museum.
So let's talk about Robert's rules, because there are rules. Since Robert has come to live at the museum, those who come to see him have learned that there are certain rules for visiting the doll. Rule 1 is no contact with the doll or taking photos without first asking Robert's permission. And I should point out it is no longer possible to touch Robert, as an anonymous donor donated the funds for a plastic enclosure to keep Robert from interacting with the public.
Oh, good.
I was going to say, that's probably a good thing from some of the misfortunes that we've heard about.
Now, Robert also likes gifts. Sweets are preferred, like candy, mints, though some have left coins and others still marijuana in the form of joints. He also does not like to be disrespected, and those who mock him can pay a hefty price if tales are to be believed.
So let's talk about some of the victims of the curse. One man who visited Robert at the museum did not ask Robert's permission to take a picture. And as he snapped the picture, his digital camera came up no images. All of his pictures had vanished. The following day, he went on a yacht trip with his wife, and the captain had a photographer on board who filmed a video of them. The DVD was blank. He took his camera to the shop, who could find no reason that it lost all of its pictures. The man also was woken by some strange sounds and whispers as he slept. Another man made fun of his fiancée for asking Robert for his permission to take a picture and began to snap away with his phone, insulting Robert the whole time. He and his fiancée got in a wreck as the taxi was on its way to the airport, causing them to miss their flight. Upon returning home from their vacation, his fiancée ended their relationship. A third individual snapped a photograph without asking, and when driving home, he wrecked his car. The shop repaired it, but as he was driving home, his front driver's side wheel came off. That was repaired. When he's driving home from having that repaired, he was struck by a semi, totaling the car and injuring him. In the hospital, he had a life-threatening reaction to a medication. He sent a letter of apology to Robert the doll. There are multiple stories like these, and many are found in the letters on the walls of Robert's room at the museum.
Oh, yeah. I was looking on Reddit today, and I found a few more, like a guy that was just, he refused to go in Robert's room. He was like, I'm not looking at someone's doll. It's not haunted, whatever. They all get back in the car, right? As soon as they close the door, all four of the passenger windows explode.
Ooh.
Same time. That's basically Robert's way of saying, I don't like you much either.
Right.
You don't believe in? Okay. Let's change that.
Let's see what we can do about that exactly.
Next, we will talk about skeptics. Skeptics claim that Robert is just a doll. He does not curse people, nor does he have the power to speak. Quote, they claim that people blame their unluck on the doll, or even cause their own unluck out of fear. They claim that people fear the doll, and the fear bleeds into their life in multiple ways. Others point to psychological reasons for
Such
Pediophobia.
as pediophobia.
Pediophobia, like the fear of dolls, cannot actually hurt them. Roughly 5% of the U.S. suffers from these kinds of specific phobias. For example, our longtime friend and guest on the show from time to time, Dan B. Pierce, is afraid of dolls. Others say that Robert causes the uncanny valley effect on those who look at him.
So let's talk about Robert now. Robert still makes his home at the museum, and the museum gets a lot of visitors because he is there. Many claim that being near Robert makes them feel like they are being watched. Many claim to have seen him appear to wink or move or even see an intelligence in his black, beady eyes. The museum sells a lot of Robert the Doll merchandise, including posters, replicas, T-shirts, and other things. However, one thing is absolutely unique. You can pay to spend the night with Robert the doll. Hey, Dan Fierce, you paying attention? I know what I'm getting you for Christmas. The
No, he's not.
museum gets between 3 and 5 letters a week for Robert. Many of them apologies for disrespecting him, some with gifts of candy, and others with people asking him to curse a specific person.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty low.
The museum has a curator on staff dedicated to Robert who checks him over once a year, answers his correspondence, and replies for him on social media. As far as I know, he may be the only cursed doll with his own social media account.
I'm fairly certain that Chucky must have multiple social media.
Okay, Chucky is fake because he's all in the movies. I'm talking about real dolls that are supposed to be cursed. Now, she does not like people leaving joints for Robert because she believes it is inappropriate, as they are still located in a museum.
Also, he may be 119 years old. He's still a child's doll, so there's that.
Well, and it's not like he can get to the joints anyway. He's in that glass enclosure or plastic enclosure. So, but yeah, so that's Robert now. Now, like I said, you can absolutely get miniature replicas of Robert, and I'm going to get one for Dan Fierce and hang it on his on the rear view window of his car so he can stare at it every day.
No, he's not.
Why not?
You're not doing it.
I've known Dan a long time. It would be funny for me.
Good for you. Maybe get him something he actually likes for Christmas.
Something else, though, I thought about. And
give him a doll. Do that to him.
Well, okay. One, I tease your Uncle Dan quite a bit. I have yet to buy him an actual haunted doll.
No, not a haunted one, but we did give him a doll.
That looked like it could be haunted.
Yes, we did. I do remember that now. But one thing that occurs to me, because we've talked about tulpas and other things. Tulpas, for those of you who don't know, it basically arises in a Hindu belief that you can create a being of mental energy that exists on its own, can talk to you, hang out with you, whatever. I've often wondered if Jean didn't put enough love and mental energy in Robert, that Robert sort of came to life. Because people talking about how the dog, they heard the doll whispering responses to Jean's questions. So is it possible that he loved the doll enough to bring it to life? And then did the doll just not die when he did? And maybe that's why it's so grumpy, is that it's missing his best friend.
Yeah.
Maybe if they'd let the doll smoke a couple of joints that he gets left.
Doll to drug use? No, that's not cool.
Okay, hey, no.
I'm just saying, maybe he'd be less if, he got high once in a while.
Maybe he'd be less if he was able to see his best friend again.
He's 119 years old, made of foam and whatever, and straw. I imagine that it would not take a whole lot of a spark for him to go up in flames, so maybe that's not a good idea.
Probably true, but they do have that curator, and once a year she does take him out and fully inspects him, just to make sure that there's nothing that needs to be repaired. And here's the thing, while she's never had an experience, she also, every time she has to get him out of his enclosure, she tells him, hey, Robert, I'm going to get you out of your enclosure, inspect you, make sure you're 100% safe and done right, and then I'm going to put you back. which is a bit weird to me, but she's never had an experience. She feels like Robert understands that she's got a job to do and just lets her get on with it. And the other thing is that now with so many pictures of him online, people are saying looking at his picture online without his permission can lead to bad luck. To the point where when I was researching this, I actually at one point said, okay, Robert, we're going to talk about you, put you on the podcast, use your picture for promotional purposes. I hope you're okay with this. I hope all is good in your little world, and I hope you're not upset by it.
I appreciate you doing that because goodness knows we have enough bad luck on our own. We don't need to be tempting any fates.
But yeah, so that's another thing is that people say that, just looking at his picture online without saying some sort of paean to, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that word right, P-A-E-N, to Robert, saying some sort of apology or, hey, I'm going to look at your picture, hope that's okay, can get him to curse you from afar.
Yeah.
Also, what's going on in your life that you need to talk to a doll to curse someone on your behalf? And why do you think you have it like that with Robert? Like, why do you think he's going to go, oh, well, this person is obviously a good person. Yeah. I'm going to follow their request and curse this other person for them.
Bro, like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but if I were
a bit of a reach, I'm with you.
I'm sorry, but if I were to ever, see Robert the doll, not in photos, because I refuse to look up photos of Robert the doll, because I don't want to disrespect him in any way. Even if I ask him, I want to see him face to face, and I want to, treat him like I would a person, because that's basically what he is. I treat him like he deserves to be treated, not like a doll. He has feelings, obviously. Why would all of this be coincidental? It's not.
Well, that's just it. Skeptics say it isn't coincidental. People go in going, oh, the doll is cursed and has a personality, and I'm going to treat it a certain way. And when they don't, they blame totally natural events on the doll.
Yeah.
But my argument against it is, yeah, a lot of people went in feeling the same way you did, acted the fool, and then wound up writing letters to a doll they didn't believe in 6 months ago to go, please stop, enough. Stop.
But here's my thing. Robert the doll, even if, he wasn't, quote, even if he was, quote, wasn't haunted, then why do we have all these stories? Why do we have all these people writing notes, different handwriting, may I mind you, apologizing to the doll? Why do people see Robert looking at them?
Nope. But again, the skeptics say it's because they expect for that to happen. You see what Dad's saying?
I get it. But, skeptics have to keep in mind that people who were originally skeptics have also gone there, and they have also not expected anything, and then 6 months later...
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm with you 100%. I'm just saying.
They're, crying to their mothers.
Fair enough.
Well, and I heard someone recently say, and they're right, skeptics are a weird bunch in that someone will tell you, oh, I don't believe in ghosts or this or that or the other. And if you put them in a situation, okay, so would you go into a house that's supposedly very haunted, maybe even, a murder or some sort of evil thing happened in, play with a Ouija board for a while, and then go to sleep? And the answer a lot of them will give you is, oh, gosh, no. Well, then they're not truly skeptics. Some level of them, on some level, they believe.
Exactly, but apparently they won't believe in a doll that's been around for a while.
119 years is a little longer than a while.
I know. That's what I'm saying. People need to start
I just
believing
think
more.
at the end of the day, even if you're talking about an inanimate object, where is the harm in being
Where's the harm in being respectful to inanimate objects?
Exactly.
I apologize to inanimate objects all the time. Like, I'll bump
where
into
is the
one, I'll
harm
be like,
in
"Oops."
being kind and polite? There is none.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Even if you don't believe, just the act of, hey, Robert, I'm going to take your picture now. I hope that's all right.
Yep.
Or, hey, Robert, I'm going to leave you this mint I got from Sonic because I hear you like candy.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert, I bought you a bag of candy. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for letting me see you.
There you go. Yep, exactly.
You know, there's nothing wrong with being nice. And I really like the people who leave him joints because I'm not sure if they do it out of, well, he likes candy, or if it's more out of, Robert, you need to chill out. I'm not sure which, but either one is funny to me. And just the fact that if you look for her online, like, she gets really upset when she talks about people leaving Robert joints because she's like, it's so inappropriate. We're a museum. Look, I've been through a couple museums high. It's okay. It adds the experience depending on the museum.
You don't say that. We're gonna get kicked out of all the museums we went to. Can we go to your museum? No!
I've never been to a museum high with my family. These were when I was younger and did these things on my own or with friends. And it does add to the experience, kinda.
You know, sometimes when you tell these stories, you make me wonder how much of life I actually missed out on. I can't even know. I'm so confused. I mean,
dude, it's a museum. A museum is a place sort of like similar to a place of learning. So
yeah, like a school.
You wouldn't bring weed to school, would you?
No, of course not.
No, you'd get in trouble. So don't go into a museum high or bring in a joint. I agree with her.
Well, I get where she's coming from, but my point is she gets so mad about it that I find it hilarious.
Like, if you're gonna get high, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Unless, like, you're with a group that doesn't really care.
And then, when it comes to Robert's origin, I kind of feel like belief is a funny thing.
Yeah.
And people who believe things often have that belief rewarded. Maybe he believed that Robert was real, and maybe that sort of made Robert a little real.
Yeah.
And maybe anyone else open to that belief to any degree gives Robert a little power. And that power can be used to influence your luck, either positively or negatively.
Hopefully positively. If you respect him, it's going to be positive. If not, it's going to be negative.
So, any other final thoughts you want to share, hon? Because I feel like I've run my mouth.
No, it's okay, because I think that it really that's my final thought, just that it does not hurt to be kind. It does not hurt to be considerate and thoughtful and polite and use your manners. There's never a bad time to have manners. And so I feel like if people are trying to be considerate and they're taking into account the history and the lore that goes along with Robert and being respectful about that, whether anything that is said about him is true or not, there's never anything wrong with being respectful. That's where I land on it.
Here's my thing about it. If you're just gonna be rude, don't talk. Because, like,
I like that.
Like,
you're just gonna be rude, don't talk.
Like, it's okay to have those thoughts in your brain. We're cruel. That is our nature. Sometimes we're just cruel.
Humans can be cruel. We have the
ability, we have the absolute ability to be cruel.
That is true.
And awful. And when we have those thoughts, They're thoughts that normally we wouldn't take out on others. So if you feel like you're going to be rude, keep it in your brain, because it's not going to be useful to any of your situations.
Fair enough.
Karma is a thing. Take that into your brain, suck it in, drop it back out. Remember that.
There we go.
And one other thing I wanted to cover is Gene, when he grew up, he became an artist. Like, there are works by him out in the world. And that's another thing that gets to me. I'm like, well, artists see the world in a different way than your average person. In fact, they teach this in college. That art is really someone looking at chaos and finding order and bringing that order out. And so maybe that's the part of Gene that brought Robert to life, is the artist.
Yep.
You know, maybe he treated him like a friend for so long, he became one. I mean, like I said, in that mansion, Robert had his own room in the attic, and it was as populated and furnished as any kid's room.
Yes.
And that's I'm glad that Robert had a good life. I am so glad. I am so sorry that people are being rude to you now, Robert, but I'm glad that you had a good life with that. Because, like,
We should all have a true friend.
we should. We all deserve it. I know that.
I got a friend.
You do.
Yeah, you do
You've
have
got
a
a
friend.
Apollo friend.
I also have a friend on me right now, but it's not a real friend. It's a
Well,
mask.
you never know, Chris, if you treat it like it's real.
Yeah.
Like you
if
do
give
all
her
your
lots of
creations.
love and
I do.
Maybe in 119 years, people will be going like, you see that dinosaur mask? Don't mess with it. It'll curse you.
Don't mess with it. The only
Yeah.
person that liked was Chris.
there you go. So that's our show.
That is our show. Thanks as always for listening. Thanks to Dan B. Fierce for being a longtime friend to both me and the show.
We do love our Uncle Danny, and he is an awesome guy, an amazing writer, and he has multiple books
Yes.
out. Please go and check him out. There will be a link in our show information on this show.
Also, thanks to Bill Barrett. That last name is spelled Behrendt. Bill does our theme music. Bill is also available for if you need music for a project or you need someone to play an event. Bill's your guy. You can reach him at billbarrett@sbcglobal.net. Thanks to Paige Elmore of the Reverie Crime Podcast. Not only does she do a kick butt crime podcast, but she's a Canva addict, and she has combined her skills on Canva with our Krysta's artwork to make some original logo art for us. Thank you, Paige.
Thank you, Paige.
Thanks to Aaron Gnurk of the Big Dumb Fun Show, who continues to promote us locally. And join us next week for our last show of spooky season. It'll drop November 2nd, but that's close enough, as we look into Jack the Ripper. Bye.
Bye.